There are those of us who walk through this world with skin too thin for the chaos around us. We feel the pain behind someone's smile. We hear the sorrow in a silent room. We sense betrayal long before it arrives. And we carry the weight of emotions that don't even belong to us. If you've ever wondered why you feel everything, absolutely everything, so deeply that it physically hurts, this message is for you. You are not weak. You are not dramatic. You are not too emotional. You are one of the dual vibration chosen ones. And the reason it hurts is because you weren't built for a single frequency. You were designed to hold the tension of two worlds at once. One foot in this broken, chaotic dimension, and the other in the pristine symmetry of the divine. And that tension, it's not dysfunction. It's your purpose. Let me explain what this really means. Dual vibration chosen ones carry both the density of Earth and the fluidity of the higher realms in equal measure. Most people are anchored in one or the other. They either become hardened by the world or they escape it altogether in spiritual bypass. But you and I, we were born to feel both simultaneously, to be in the middle of the collision. That's why your nervous system is so sensitive. That's why your emotions are so complex. You're not confused. You're multidimensional. You're not overwhelmed. You're overcalibrated. You're not broken. You're a bridge, and bridges are always under pressure. We are the living architecture between the old world and the new one. That's why we feel like we're being torn in two. It's because, in a way, we are. When I was younger, I used to think something was wrong with me. Why did a stranger's sadness make me cry for days? Why did loud rooms feel like an attack? Why did I feel like I was carrying grief that wasn't mine? It took me years to discover the truth. I wasn't just feeling my own frequency, I was resonating with the collective. Dual vibration chosen ones are like tuning forks. We don't just hear the song of the soul, we become it. We feel the discord, the harmony, the unresolved notes, and we carry it in our bones. This is not a glitch. It is divine technology. But here's the catch. If we don't learn to navigate it, it turns inward. The gift becomes a curse. The sensitivity becomes suffering. The bridge becomes a battlefield. So I ask you, have you ever hated your own sensitivity? Because the moment you do, you begin to betray your essence. Let's go even deeper. One of the most misunderstood aspects of being a dual vibration chosen one is this: we are not just here to feel, we are here to transmute. That's why it hurts so deeply. Pain is the portal. Our emotions are not meant to drown us, they're meant to alchemize us. When you feel grief that isn't yours, it's because your field is absorbing density that needs light. When you suddenly feel anxiety in a room, it's because your body just detected a frequency mismatch. And when you feel joy so intense that it makes you cry, it's not confusion. It's divine remembrance. You are remembering what the world forgot. That emotion is not weakness. Emotion is intelligence. It is the voice of the soul. And your soul speaks in surround sound. But here's where it gets dangerous. Because most of us were never taught how to regulate this depth. We were told to calm down, to be strong, to get over it. So what did we do? We learned to numb. We shut down. We disconnected. But all that did was turn our gift into a slow leak of suffering. You can't numb selectively. When you turn off pain, you also turn off joy. When you silence fear, you also silence intuition. So I ask you, where have you been numbing to survive a world that was never designed for your level of feeling? Because to reclaim your power, you must reclaim your sensitivity, not as a problem, but as a superpower. You must learn to feel again, not to be overwhelmed, but to become aware. Let's talk about the body. Your physical vessel is not malfunctioning. The exhaustion, the tension, the migraines, the chronic fatigue, it's not laziness. It's energy overload. Your body is processing more frequencies than the average nervous system was designed to hold. Think of it like running a supercomputer with no cooling system. You're downloading trauma, emotion, and spiritual data constantly. That's why you need more sleep. That's why you need solitude. That's why you crave silence. You're not antisocial. You're not lazy. You're calibrating. But if you don't listen to your body, it will scream. Pain is not punishment. Pain is your soul saying, too much input, slow down and integrate. So start treating your body like the sacred antenna it is. Hydrate, breathe deeply, move gently, rest often. Not because you're weak, but because you're wired for more. And finally, let's land on the deepest truth of all. You feel everything so deeply because your soul came here to redefine feeling itself. You are not here to be numb to survive. You're here to awaken others through your emotional literacy and through your rawness, through your tears, through your silence, through your presence. You don't need to fix the world. You need to feel it honestly. Because when people are around you, they remember how to feel again. They remember that vulnerability is strength, that depth is sacred, that softness is power. You are the emotional frequency the earth has been waiting for. So stop apologizing for being too much. You are not too much. You are exactly enough for what's coming. So now I ask you, if you stopped seeing your deep feeling as weakness and started seeing it as divine technology, how would you live your life differently starting tomorrow? Would you still numb? Would you still disconnect? Would you still apologize for feeling too deeply? Or would you finally own it, embody it, and let it shape the world around you? The nervous system of the divine, how dual vibration chosen ones process what no one else can. You've likely always known something inside you works differently. You sense things before they happen. You feel the mood of a room before a word is spoken. And sometimes you can't tell whether what you're feeling is yours or someone else's. That's not overthinking. That's not hypersensitivity. That's the mark of carrying dual vibration consciousness. You are not just a person. You are a spiritual instrument, a living receiver, a conduit for both human emotion and divine intelligence. And your nervous system, it isn't just reacting to the world, it's processing the collective data field. You're not broken. You're built for something beyond logic. You are the nervous system of the divine. And we need to talk about what that truly means. Most people's nervous systems are wired for local data. Their body processes what's happening around them, their job, their stress, their family. But dual vibration chosen ones are wired for non-local awareness. You don't just process your own experiences, you process energetic frequencies from the collective, ancestral timelines, and even cosmic fields. That's why some days you wake up in grief without a trigger. That's why you can walk into a space and suddenly feel dizzy, anxious, or overwhelmed. It's not just about what's in the room, it's about what's in the field. Your system is constantly scanning, absorbing, and integrating energetic residue so others don't have to. One could say you're like a psychic immune system for the planet. But here's the danger. If you don't ground and release, you'll collapse under the weight of a world you were only meant to carry temporarily. So how do we manage this? How do we honor the gift without being crushed by it? It starts with understanding the difference between carrying and clearing. You are not here to hold on to everything you feel. You are here to feel it fully, then release it consciously. Like a spiritual filtration system, your job is not to store the pain of others, it's to alchemize it and let it go. But most of us were never taught how. So we mistake compassion for codependency. We confuse empathy with entanglement. And we end up carrying trauma that was never ours to begin with. This is why you need rituals of release. Not just once in a while daily. Breathwork, energy clearing, movement, sound healing, silent walks in nature. These aren't luxuries, they're maintenance for a divine nervous system. So I ask you, what are you still holding in your body that was meant to pass through you, not stay within you? Let's go deeper into the body. Your physical vessel is not just a container, it's a translator. Every spiritual message, every emotional wave, every unseen frequency lands in the body first. That's why you get migraines after emotional exchanges. That's why your stomach knots before something goes wrong. That's why certain people drain your energy, even if they never say a word. Your body is not betraying you, it's speaking in its native tongue. And that language is sensation. You must learn to read it, not suppress it, not medicate it out of existence. But listen, your pain is a map. Your fatigue is a signal. Your tears are not dysfunction, they're data being released through the only mechanism sacred enough to hold them, your body. Now let's address something few talk about, energetic overstimulation. Dual vibration chosen ones often live in a constant state of invisible overwhelm. Not because they're weak, but because their system is hyper-tuned. Imagine trying to sleep while listening to every radio station in the world at once. That's what it feels like to walk through a crowded city or scroll through social media when your field is wide open. You're not just seeing images or words. You're absorbing frequencies. Frequencies of lack, fear, ego, manipulation. So even when you're sitting still, you may feel exhausted. This is why boundaries are sacred. Not just physical boundaries, but energetic ones. Your energy field deserves protection. And that protection begins with discernment. Every time you say no to what drains you, you say yes to what upgrades you. And your nervous system thanks you for it. Let's talk about relationships. One of the hardest parts of being a dual vibration chosen one is the loneliness. Because you feel so much, you often feel too much for others. You're told you're intense. You're told you're too deep. You're told you're too sensitive. So you either shrink or you isolate. But here's the truth. You were never meant for surface-level connections. You were designed for soul resonance, for telepathic intimacy, for emotional transparency, for love that doesn't just comfort, but activates. And yes, that kind of connection is rare. But you're not here to settle. You're here to hold the frequency of what's possible. So don't betray yourself just to belong. Don't dim your light to be digestible. When you honor your depth, you give others permission to rise. And when you wait for resonance, rather than reaching for familiarity, you start to attract the tribe your soul has been calling for since before this lifetime. And finally, let's talk about your role in the bigger picture. You weren't sent here to just survive this world. You were sent here to feel it fully so you could help reprogram it. Your nervous system is a divine mirror. It reflects the disharmony that others ignore. It reacts to the lies people have normalized. It hurts when the world is out of alignment, not because you're fragile, but because you're in tune. You are the canary in the coal mine, the early warning system, the frequency holder. And yes, that's a heavy responsibility, but it's also the most sacred one. Because when the world begins to collapse, and it is, you will be one of the few who can stand in the storm and feel everything without shutting down. That is your power. That is your purpose. That is your proof. So I leave you with the question that will define this next chapter of your journey. If your nervous system is the instrument through which divine intelligence flows, then how will you begin honoring it not as a burden, but as a portal? Will you keep numbing? Will you keep forcing yourself to fit in? Or will you finally recognize yourself for what you are, a living interface between this world and the next? The beautiful collapse. Why dual vibration chosen ones break down so they can rebuild a new frequency on Earth. There comes a point in every dual vibration chosen one's journey when everything seems to fall apart internally and externally. It's not subtle. It's not poetic. It's brutal. You lose people. You lose purpose. You lose parts of yourself you thought were permanent. And in those moments you may ask, why is this happening to me? But that's the wrong question. The right one is, what is trying to be born through me? Because the collapse isn't a punishment. It's a sacred dismantling. It's the divine saying, you've outgrown the version of yourself that could survive in the old frequency. Now it's time to build the one who can create the new. This is not destruction. This is reconstruction. You are not breaking down. You are breaking open. The truth is, collapse is coded into your soul contract. Dual vibration chosen ones are not meant to live small, numb, or safe. So when we cling to jobs, relationships, routines, or beliefs that limit our vibration, the universe intervenes. And it intervenes through breakdown. Not because it's cruel, but because it's efficient. The old must dissolve for the new to rise. And no, it won't feel good. It'll feel like death. But what's dying isn't you, it's the version of you that thought suffering was required. It's the identity that was built on survival, not sovereignty. It's the outdated programming that says, play small to stay safe. And when that dies, you grieve deeply. And that grief, it's not weakness. It's initiation. Do you realize how sacred your breakdowns actually are? When you collapse, you enter the void. The space where nothing makes sense, where time dissolves, where meaning disappears. Most people avoid this place at all costs. But you were built to walk through it. Because only in the void can you download the templates that don't exist yet. Only in the collapse can you hear the whisper of your soul without interference. Only in the silence can you feel the hum of a frequency that transcends the system entirely. That's why so many of us experience mental, emotional, and physical breakdowns during awakening. It's the body releasing density, the mind detaching from illusion, the soul reclaiming command. But here's where it gets even deeper. When you collapse, you don't just do it for yourself, you do it for the collective. Your breakdown is not personal, it's planetary. Every time you transmute grief, you shift it in the collective field. Every time you face your shadow, you make it easier for others to face theirs. Every time you rise after falling, you send out a frequency that says, it's possible. You are a reference point for what transformation looks like. Not perfection. Process. Not control. Courage. You're not here to pretend it's easy. You're here to embody what's real. And that embodiment becomes a map for others. Your scars become signposts. Your tears become teachings. Your collapse becomes a cathedral for others to find their way home. Let's speak honestly now. There will be moments when you want to give up. Moments so dark, you can't even remember the light. That's not failure. That's initiation. You didn't come here to be comfortable. You came here to reshape reality with your frequency. And that means you will be brought to the edge again and again until you realize you are the edge. You are the threshold between what was and what wants to be. That's why you feel pulled apart, because you're stretching the timeline. You're expanding the possibilities. You're becoming the bridge, and bridges shake before they settle. So if you're shaking right now, good. That means the transformation is real. Here's what no one tells you. After the collapse, something incredible happens. You start to rebuild not from fear, but from frequency. You no longer make decisions based on what's practical. You move based on alignment. You stop chasing success. You start embodying resonance. You don't care about being understood. You care about being true. And that truth becomes magnetic. You attract people who see you, opportunities that match you, experiences that reflect your new vibration. And you do it without effort. Because when you operate from your authentic frequency, life organizes itself around you. You don't chase. You transmit. You don't perform. You embody. You don't convince. You radiate. So now, let's return to the question we asked at the beginning. Why do dual vibration chosen ones feel everything so deeply it hurts? Because we are the rebuilders of frequency. The ones who chose to feel what others repress, to transform what others avoid, to live what others fear. We came here not just to survive this world, but to upgrade it. And through our presence, through our pain, through our process, we are the ones who remember that healing is messy. Awakening is non-linear, and collapse is sacred. So I leave you with this final question, one that only you can answer. Now that you know your pain has a purpose, will you finally stop running from it and start listening to the world it's trying to birth through you? Because if you can sit in the ashes long enough, you will remember that you were never burning down. You were always becoming the fire.